Hello everyone and welcome back to the Odious Soul. My name is Shannon and today we're going to have a little bit of a story time. Okay, not exactly, but there is a rabbit hole that I do want to go over with you guys. As you guys know, or if you've watched my videos, you know that here lately I've had a really hard time because I keep heading down rabbit holes and I keep checking out rabbit holes, and a lot of the rabbit holes are based around the Thrill of the Chase book. They, seriously, like the Thrill of the Chase book, Fenn has said, okay, that there are hints spread among the pages of this fabulous book, and that, they're like aberrations on the edge. So here's one of the rabbit holes that I have been traveling down recently, and I really felt it was time to share it with you guys, okay? So now I'm going to go to page 27 of The Thrill of the Chase, a memoir by Forrest Fenn, 26 and 27. And I'm going to read to you a little passage, okay? Most of you are probably familiar with it, but I just want to read it to you. Okay, ready? Okay, it is easy to justify the time I spent in Spanish class looking out the big window that was adjacent to my desk. It was on the second floor, and a beautiful old iron slide-down fire escape was just outside that window. When the sun was out, the smell of freedom was more than I could resist. So on occasion, when Miss Ford, writing Spanish words on the blackboard, I'd quickly slip through the window and down and away. I was proud to have thought of that idea all by myself. I remembered that exhilarating feeling that there were probably a lot more ideas out there that were just as good as that one. Fortunately, I was the only one in class who knew that trick. The sliding, I mean. And even though that rusty old thing marked the tail of my breeches pretty good with a heavy brown color, it was worth it. Everyone who walked behind me on the way to the next class knew what I'd done. People were beginning to notice me. Now, I also want to point out quickly that the brown and that thing that I just mentioned is not capitalized. I do just want to point that out. So why is that passage standing out to me? Well, that is the passage that I have been going down rabbit holes on. So I want to read something else too. Forrest has said on multiple occasions, okay, talking about geography, all right, pulling all this stuff from Terry Scant. Let's see here. Somebody had asked the question, did the same 9 clues exist when you were a kid? And to your estimation, will they still exist in 100 years and 1,000 years? Fenn replied, the clues did not exist when I was a kid, but most of the places the clues refer to did. I think they might exist in 100 years, but the geography probably will change before we reach the next millennium. To me, this just shows you how solid those things need to be, the answers to our clues. They can't just be little tiny things that can shift and change rapidly. Those are things that are going to stay there for quite some time. The next one I want to pull from this, though, is, here we go. Mr. Fenn, question asked to Mr. Fenn, of course, is there any level of knowledge of U.S. history that is required to properly interpret the clues in your poem? And that was asked by Steve R. Fenn replied, no, Steve R. The only requirement is that you figure out what the clues mean. But a comprehensive knowledge of geography might help. All right, so let's go back to that slide, right? There are lots of slides in nature, especially in our 4 shirt states. There are tons of slides. There are tons of things that were formed because of slides. If you guys are familiar with A Gypsy's Kiss, they did a whole thing about the Devil Slide when they thought that it might be near Yellowstone for a hot second. It is in the Gallatin National Forest, okay, which is very close to the northwest part of Wyoming. It's right outside the park there. It's on the side of Cinnabar Mountain. And the one thing about the Devil Slide is it's actually created by different layers of sediment, different rocks, okay? So as time's gone on, those different layers of rocks erode at different rates, which create this awesome different slide that goes down the side of a mountain. Okay, and people just it's been called the Devil Slide since the 1800s. So this one has a nice red streak down it, quite similar to the brown streak down Forrest Fenn's pants, maybe. So it's definitely something to look at. Question is, So what would it be to you? Would it be your blaze? Would it be the home of brown? What would you consider that? Would it be no place for the meek? I mean, nobody wants to go near a devil, I hope. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Some of you guys out there, possibly. But still, so Devil Slide, one possibility. The next possibility is the Madison Slide. Now this, if you've watched my videos, know that this was the blaze in my first solve. Okay, so the Madison Slide is along the Madison River. It's down past Hebgen Lake. It's at the very end of Earthquake Lake. During the 1959 earthquake, the mountainside fell down and it actually caused the Madison River to back up, and it actually formed Earthquake Lake. Now with natural erosion, this is what's cool about this. Earthquake Lake will be there in 100 years, but barely. After a couple hundred years, Earthquake Lake will just be part of the Madison River again. Natural erosion, which was all the idea of the Army Corps of Engineers, will actually slowly take away that slide sediment, slowly releasing the water from Earthquake Lake, and therefore not flooding the valley below. So kind of interesting fact there. But again, the Madison Slide, for me, it was the blaze. I know some people who think of that as heavy loads and water high. I mean, it's possible, right? Anything in this chase is possible. Until the chest is found, anything's possible. The next slide on our list is Lower Slide Lake. Now this is down in the Bridger-Teton National Forest in Wyoming. This was created in June 23rd of 1925 when a landslide near Kelly, Wyoming actually dammed up a river, forming this Lower Slide Lake. So, beautiful place, quite possibly, maybe. I know lots of people who search in the Tetons or around this area. Could this be the missing link that you've been looking for? Who knows? The next one is Slide Lake. Now this one's also in Wyoming. It's in the Northern Wind River Mountains, just above the Green River Lakes. Okay, so again, another slide, another possibility. Moving on, let's look at Hart Mountain in Park County, Wyoming. Now this is a mountain that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, it's just kind of, where'd that come from? Well, Hart Mountain was formed by a landslide, the largest known landslide on Earth, okay, ever, that was actually on the land, okay, about 48 to 50, I have to double check this, million years ago. Yes. So could Fenn be referring to Hart Mountain? I mean, maybe it was someplace he took Peggy to, you know, the two of them. And it's right in between so many other things. It's on the edge of the Beartooth Mountains. I mean, who knows? It's so close to Cody. It's like right there. I mean, possibly, maybe. We all know Fenn went to Cody several times a year for like forever, okay, for that Wild Bill Museum. So, I mean, who knows? It was accessible, it was there, and it was created by a slide. So it's something that we should not just say no to. It's something we should look at, analyze, lose sleep over, and then crawl our way back out of the rabbit hole. All right, the next slide for you guys to consider is in Colorado. It's the Loveland Basin Slide. Now, this slide occurred in 1963 near the Continental Divide. Now, remember what I said, or what Fenn said, okay? Fenn said that some of the places that the clues represent were there when he was a kid, and some of them weren't. So even though a slide happened in 1963 or 1959, like the Madison Slide, doesn't mean you can rule it out, because some of the clues, he said most, he did not say all of them, so some of the clues were not created until later. So you got to figure out which ones and what he meant by that. Moving on, there's also a slide mine in Boulder, Colorado. Now this isn't a normal slide, but it's a mine called Slide Mine, and that is a place where gold and silver was taken out of. So again, something else to look at, research, and figure out if it's something that's going to help you find this treasure. And the last one on my list is Slide Trail in New Mexico. Now this one is not too far from Taos, and we all know there's a ton of people who love the Taos area. It's also north of Santa Fe in New Mexico, and we all know there's a lot of people stuck in New Mexico. And this trail, literally, it goes down into a canyon. Into a canyon down, you say? So, and it goes right along this river, and this river ends up going to the Rio Grande. Like, the end of the trail is the end of the river, which hits the Rio Grande. Now, Fenn has specifically said the treasure is not located near the Rio Grande, but that's not to say that it's not somewhere off a river that ends up at the Rio Grande. So how far from the Rio Grande? Nowhere near it? It's all perspective, right? So he's meaning it's not along the edges of the Rio Grande. That does not mean it's not 200 feet north up this river. So it's a possibility. So again, anything's a possibility. What are we going to do? What are you going to do with this information? Are you going to take another look at slides and maybe consider them? They are geographical, they're geological, they are nature created. Most of them are not man-made created. Some of them can have the potential. Like, I believe the Level and Basin one was kind of triggered by local construction. So it wasn't fully nature, but because of stupid people doing stupid things and not thinking of consequences. But for the most part, this is nature. And, you know, if you're a believer that the clues lead to natural things, then maybe the slide and that paragraph or two in the book is something that you need to look at or relook at it or look at it in a different way. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being loyal, faithful watchers of the Odious Soul. If you are not already a part of the treasure hunt, please hit the subscribe button and play along. We already have several clues that have been released, and there's several more to go, and there are some big prizes. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, I don't care. Why am I saying that a lot nowadays? I do care. I really do. But more importantly, just consider it. I want you to think. I want you to keep an open mind, and I want you to have fun with this treasure hunt. Not the treasure hunt, but Fenn's treasure hunt. This is one of those things where we've all gone on wild goose chases, but there is a huge prize at the end. It's worth all the insanity. So thank you guys, and good luck on your quest for Forrest Fenn's treasure.